So, the latest inflation figures have been released in the last few seconds, showing that inflation currently stands at 10.1%.
That's down from 10.5. Now, these figures give us an indication of the current state of Britain's finances, and so slightly down on last month.
Well, we have the global economic strategist at eToro, Ben Laidler, in the studio to give us some analysis to this. Look, down a little bit, not significantly, but still in double digits.
I guess we'll take it. This is the third straight decline, so that's the good news. But to your point, we're still in double digits. That leaves us pretty much the highest in the world, unfortunately, at least among the countries we would like to be compared to, and it's obviously 5 times what the Bank of England would like it to be. So that's the bad news. But I think clearly this is the third in a row. Inflation is going to keep declining. The question is just sort of how much. So it's a modest good news story.
OK. I wonder what you think is behind the slow decline. I mean, America yesterday released their figures down to 6.4%, but still higher than expected.
So they're a little bit ahead of us. That's their 7th decline, so we're following along behind. But we are a little bit the worst of both worlds. We have this energy crisis that Europe's been suffering, but we also have these very tight jobs market, which the US has also been suffering. We have a little bit of both. Energy prices have been coming down. I think that's behind quite a lot of this decline you've been seeing. And I think what the Bank of England particularly is going to be looking for in the next few months is this jobs market, which is unemployment at generational lows, which has obviously been helping a lot of people, but it's also a concern for the Bank of England that it is keeping inflation high.
I suppose that's why we keep seeing these headlines, like I think it's the front of the Telegraph, talking about trying to get people back to work. Today's approach is on sick notes. But I wonder, is that why we're being told by the Governor of the Bank of England there will be this sharp decline, perhaps from March onwards? I mean, I still don't really understand why it's at 10.1 this morning, but in a month's time we're expecting it to be significantly down. What's going to change between now and then?
So these 2 big drivers, one is the energy price in all its forms. That's been coming down. Petrol prices are down 20%. Food prices have been important. They're also down 20%. The natural gas prices, which obviously heats our homes, but is also used by a lot of businesses, they're down 80%. But those are the wholesale prices. That's going to take a few months to feed through into what we actually pay in our bills. That's the lag, but it is coming, and then hopefully further out you get hopefully more people back to work. That softens up the labour market, and that's your sort of stage 2. That's where the Bank of England is saying maybe we get inflation down to 4% by the end of the year, which is obviously a long way from here. Dan,
a bit of politics in all of this, I suppose, because we keep hearing, it's one of Rishi Sunak's 5 stated aims to halve inflation by the end of the year. It's actually not the government's job to halve inflation or to do that. It's the Bank of England's job, isn't it? They're both going to be fighting over claiming credit for this when it seems to be it's a global factors anyway. Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because they were also fighting for who to blame a few months ago when inflation was going up. Now, you're right to say that inflation is a matter for the Bank of England, but the government will say that things such as being careful when it comes to giving pay rises to public sector workers has a big part to play in keeping control of inflation. So they'll be able to say that when it does go down, look, it's not just us, but we've played a big part of this, and that's why we need to stick with our plan and not give these inflation-busting pay rises that are being demanded by the unions. Ben, of course, we're all looking to the budget next month, and shortly after the budget, we then get the next interest rate decision. How will today's inflation figures, do you think, feed into all of this?
So the Bank of England's hiked interest rates 10 times already. Interest rates are at 4%. That's obviously, that's not news to anybody. That's painful for an awful lot of people. But I think the Bank of England is looking, at these numbers and preparing to ease back on those interest rate hikes. I think they feel they're getting close to what they need to do. Maybe one more hike, maybe a second hike, but smaller hikes, not the big hikes we've seen for the last couple of months. But then they're going to wait. They're going to wait and see whether we are going to come down from that 10% to the 4%, which is obviously much closer to their target by the end of the year. But, that's step 1. Step 1 is we stop hiking. That's the relative good news story, here. They'll be scrutinising these numbers. 10.1% is a little bit better than we thought we were going to get this morning.
But the pain ain't going away, Ben, is it, for people who are looking at their bills?
Unfortunately not. This is it's a double-digit tax on everybody in this country, and it's certainly here for the next few months at least.